Hey guys, what's up? It's Alex or Nuzz here, and welcome to another episode of Road to Party Hat. We have a super fun one this time with lots of upgrades and gains, so it's going to be really fun. And I also want to mention just quickly, since this is a main series that basically started my channel, I want to thank you all so much to everyone that nominated me for Best New RuneScape YouTuber. I'm now in the finals, and if you think I deserve the award, you can vote for me with the link in the description. Voting ends in 4 days, so make sure you go and vote for all your favorite creators and artists. The artist that did my merch is also on there. So lots of great creators, and this is a series that started my channel and basically started it all. So if you've been supporting me and seen my progress throughout the series and seen me grow as a YouTuber, as a player, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for all the support. It means really so much. But with that said, let's get into a pretty awesome episode. Doing some giant oyster, which is kind of how we start every episode, but we did end up getting a fortune component, and I'm telling you guys, I've been saying it since like episode 3. One day we're gonna get a die. We will. Just keep watching. It might be episode 180, but we will get a die from the oyster one day. But we did get 2 nice loots from the oyster, so guys, remember to always do your oyster. There's a chance you could get some decent money and maybe even something better. So next, we're gonna go on the hunt for the golden party hat. Now this series is called Road to Party Hat, but our main goal was to get one of the original party hats, so that isn't gonna change. But the fact that we could earn a party hat ourselves during this event was just too much for me to pass up, so we are gonna be hunting for it in this episode, and we do get some crazy results at the end, so make sure you stick around for that. For this party hat, you need to collect shards, each of which can be gotten randomly from doing different activities like skilling, combat, killing bosses. You need to collect all of the shards, or 8 of them, which are gotten randomly. So the first thing we started doing was clue scrolls, and we ended up doing about 30 or 40 easy clues, and we didn't get a single shard, which was a little demotivating because I saw a lot of people were getting the shards super fast with clues by doing easy clues. So I did all my easy clues, but I did not get any shards. But I still did have some hard clues in the bank, which I honestly don't really mind doing because hard clues are actually pretty fun compared to elite clues. I like them so much better than elites. There's not all the like puzzles and stuff that you have to do, and I don't really like the arrow clues and stuff from elites. And not to mention there's also a chance you can get like a big die, like the shadow die, which is over like 1 bill right now, and hard clues are pretty easy to do, so they're kind of where it's at right now in terms of clue scrolls. Not to mention the price of fortunate components are also super high, but we actually did end up getting the clue scroll shard after doing a decent amount of hard clues and after those easies, so I was happy to get this one out of the way. Now I did end up opening these clues afterwards, and honestly the loot was pretty decent. Although we didn't get anything crazy like a shadow die or anything, we did end up getting a really good amount of fortunate components, which honestly really add up. You need 50 fortunate components to make an alchemical onyx, which is used to make like luck of the dwarves and grace of the elves, and it sells for like 70 mil, so each component goes for well over 1 mil GP, and it really adds some nice money to the bank. So this was the first night the party hat came out, and I was grinding like crazy, and I think I stayed up the entire night. I ended up doing some Dagonos with an Oldak coil and Bone Crusher, and I ended up getting the combat shard through killing those, which was a pretty fast shard for me. I also did some fire making to try to get the artisan shard, and I got a really good amount of fire making XP, and I used probably 2,000 or 3,000 of my protein logs. I was using fire making brawlers in the wilderness for more XP, but we actually ended up getting the shard from that and then knocking out the artisan shard. So after this I went to try to get the bossing shard, and I basically just AFK'd some Arch Glazor with no mechanics, and it took a few hours, but I ended up getting the bossing shard pretty easily. So now I had the artisan shard, the combat shard, the clue shard, and the bossing shard. I also forgot to mention I have the free shard that you get. I also have the Premier Club shard, and then I do have the option to buy the 30 mil shard. So I only really needed 1 shard to complete the party hat, so I ended up doing the mini quests, which if you guys know me and you know my channel, I'm not a big quester, so I had none of the previous mini quests done, so I had to go and do all of them, but it actually didn't take me too long, maybe a little over an hour, and we ended up getting the last shard for the golden party hat. So after this, I went and I bought the shard for 30 mil from the guy at the Grain Exchange, and then I ended up going to the Wise Old Man and I made my golden party hat. So here it is. We have achieved a party hat of some kind on this account. It's not an original, but it's still a super amazing thing to see. So amazing to see that I sold it? Wait, how could you sell it? I'd actually mentioned in a video that I sold the golden party hat, and a lot of you were wondering why I would do this. Well, we ended up putting this party hat in the GE, and keep in mind this was the second day of release after this event, and I got the shards pretty fast because, like I said, I grinded basically all night long, and it actually ended up selling for over 1 billion GP. Now, the reason that I ended up selling this was because I knew I got it early, and I knew with the amount of time left on the event and people making alternative accounts that I would be able to buy it back for much cheaper later, and that's exactly what we did. So around a few weeks later, I ended up buying back the golden party hat for 300 million GP. So we made over 700 million GP profit from selling this right away when we got it, and then I still have the golden party hat in my bank forever as a remembrance of this event and this episode. So I think it was an awesome win for us and a big amount of money made off just this event as our progress towards the original party hat. So after this, I decided I had made a ton of profit, so it was finally time for a big upgrade. Now this is an upgrade you guys have been wanting me to commit to for a while, so I decided to fully commit and buy it. I ended up selling my Ascension crossbows, and don't worry, I got the perks off them first, and then I went and bought all 3 Eldridge Crossbow pieces to make up the Eldridge Crossbow. Now this cost me around 2.8 billion GP to purchase this upgrade, so by far the biggest purchase I have ever made in Runescape, but this is going to be a game changer for PvM. If you didn't know, the Eldritch Crossbow special attack deals damage when you soul split instead of healing you. So while you don't get heals when the spec is active, you will deal extra damage. This is really amazing for a lot of places that you can soul split a lot or flick soul split, and it's one of the biggest range upgrades you can get other than something like Greater Ricochet. It's something that I'm definitely going to have to continue to get used to though, as getting used to not being able to constantly heal with Soul Split and remembering to have Soul Split on as long as possible when you Prey Flick is going to be a bit of a change. Not to mention I'll be using 2-hand abilities instead of dual wield, so it'll be a bit different from there, but I know this is going to be a big step for my account even if it takes a while to get used to. So speaking of upgrades, we ended up buying another upgrade, if you will, in the Pernix Quiver. Now I ended up getting this for around 300 mil and decided to buy it for quality of life improvements, but also to test it for a video, which I uploaded like a week or 2 ago, and honestly it wasn't the smartest purchase that I've ever made, but it's one that most range setups are gonna get eventually, so I was okay with it. It does add the nice quality of life improvement of being able to switch bolts with the keybind and auto switch into arrows or bolts, but it is a bit overpriced for what it does. So after this, we ended up doing a lot of Arch Glazor. Now you guys probably know I've been trying to get the core for the Arch Glazor for quite some time, and I ended up doing a bunch of streaks to higher in rages, and I didn't really get anything, so I decided to experiment and try some lower in rages. So I was going basically from 0 to 250%, and I did a video on low in rage Glazor recently, but I was just determined to get the core. I just really want to complete this log, and we ended up getting everything but the core. We ended up getting a Lang artifact, which was the second one I've had in 1500 kills, so pretty rare there. And then the same streak, we ended up getting some Nylas. So I have so many Nylas in the bank. I have like 50 plus Nylas. I've been saving my Glazor loot now again after we sold our loot tab, and it's piling up again, but still no core. I'm gonna have to do Glazor every episode a bit until I get the core, but sadly it won't be this one. So if you guys watched my previous episodes, you know that I've been doing a lot of normal mode Zuck. Well, I continued doing normal mode Zuck, and my luck there is just not good at all. Even after the buff rates, I'm not sure how you guys do for normal mode Zuck in terms of loot, but I continued to farm Zuck, but I basically got no unique drops. Now I know it's normal mode, so maybe the next big move is to do some hard mode Zuck, although I have tried with range before and I keep running out of food. What can I say? I feel like I'm just bad when I'm trying hard mode Zuck. I think it's going to be a pretty big time commitment, but hard mode Zuck from what I've seen is actually some really insane money. I think my friend has gotten like 11 unique drops and 75 kills, which is just absolutely crazy as a drop rate, and I decided since I took a big chunk out of the bank with the Eldridge Crossbow purchased, I decided I would finally sell the Zuck loot tab that I've been saving up basically since release of Zuck. So we ended up selling the big Zuck common loot tab, but I also decided, you know what, I'm just gonna sell all of the loot I have saved up. So I sold my Glazor loot that I had saved up, I sold some of my other loot. I'd been doing quite a bit of Crosis with my friends recently, so I got a decent amount of loot from Crosis, no uniques, but the normal loot at Crosis actually adds up quite a bit, and if you do get a rare drop, some of those like Crypt Bloom is like 700-800 mil, so Crosis is kind of a low-key really good boss that isn't really super intense or anything. So after we sold basically everything, it's time to now go look at our bank value. Alright guys, so now we're going to take a look at how much progress we made this episode. We ended up getting a party hat, then selling the party hat, did some bosses, sold some loot tabs, got trolled by the Glazor, did some clues, lots of fun stuff. So yeah, a lot of progress went into this episode, but we just didn't get lucky with the drops, which is why, you know, I'm not going to show you 30 hours of Glazor where I get no loot. That's just sometimes how it goes, but I try to make it entertaining nonetheless. So if we look at our wealth evaluator, it says 8.5 bill, but I will tell you, the Eldridge Crossbow only shows as being worth max cash because that's the GE price, but it actually is worth like 2.8 bill, so that's like an extra 700 mil, so we are over 9 billion now technically, so we're getting close to the 10 bill mark, which if we started off with like 100 mil to our name, so getting there is just insane. Still a ways to go for the party hat, but we will have the gold party hat in the bank. Let me just clear this quick. So yeah, we still do have the golden party hat in here, and I plan to keep this forever. Maybe I'll give it away as a fun little thing once we actually complete our real party hat, so someone else gets a party hat too. But yeah, if we look at our Glazor loot tab, we basically don't have anything anymore except 53 Dark Nylas, the Glazor remnants. I ended up cleaning my bank a bit. I did a bank video, so the gear tab is looking pretty much the same, although we do have the Eldridge Crossbow now. We do have the Pernix Quiver. We still have the Godbow, which a lot of you have been telling me to put in my Essence of Finality, so I think that's something that I'm going to do soon. Our gear tab is pretty stacked. It's mostly range. We do have the tier 90 and tier 92 mage armor, but I don't really have that much for mage like weaponry or melee weaponry. It's pretty expensive, at least for the mage, so holding off on the mage weapons for now because that would be a huge GP sink, and I kind of just want to finish off range and start to make more progress towards the party hat. But the bank's looking pretty good, and then of course the loot tab or the collection log, the big one, the Glazor, 1486 kills. We still need the last core. We've got tons of Nylas, we've got 2 laying artifacts now, 2 scriptures, but no core. I'm hoping next episode to finish that off. But you know, you just never know with this. Crosis, I plan to do more actually. If we look here, I don't have any draws, so I do have about 50 kills, so planning to do more of that. And then I'm going to get into some group bosses, hopefully. Next Angel of Death is actually free deaths for, well, still 7 hours. But I did do some of that. That might be in the next episode, so keep an eye out for that. But all in all, I think it was a pretty good episode. Again, thank you to everyone that nominated me for Best New RuneScape creator. It just means so much to me. It's crazy that I would even be up there. All the other creators are great, so make sure you vote for your favorite. But if you do think I deserve it, again, you can vote in the description. There's a link, or in the comments. But yeah, thank you guys so much for all the support over the past year. I know I say it every episode, but seriously, like, it just blows my mind. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We got a party hat. Not really, but we kind of did. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next one.